This is Believe in Georgia Dogs podcast on the Believe Podcast Network.
Scored a touchdown earlier on a direct snap. Now it's Michelle's turn, running all the way. Gets to the edge. Sonny Michelle will send the Dogs home to the championship game.
53.5-yard drive near hash, kick right, snap, hold, kick is away, it's reaching, and it is good, good, good. Hot Pod does it. All right, Hot Pod.
Wilcox with an up and out, wide open. Touchdown. Israel 2.
All right. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. What's going on? It's the Believe in Georgia Dogs podcast on the Believe Podcast Network. Also coming at you on Brinks TV. Welcome in. It is Tennessee week here on the podcast here for the Georgia Bulldogs. It's a very, very important week. It's weird that it's in November, but joining me to talk about it is my man, Israel Troop. Israel, what's up, dude?
What up? I don't like this game being in November, same way I don't like Auburn being in September or whenever it is, but that's neither here nor there. But it still applies. Tennessee, it's going to be a good game. Going to be a good matchup.
Yeah, they've kind of found their identity. They've kind of found some things, but we'll break this thing down more as we go. If you want to see if you want to follow us on social media, I promise you, Israel is a great follow. So make sure you do that. Make sure you get him followed. Check out his tweets. Israel gave us a really, really good definition of you're doing too much. Israel, what does that mean?
And after I thought about it, it applies to adults as well. It's generally when the person who says it, you're doing too much, is in the wrong. They have done something wrong, and you're chastised them. You're getting on to them for doing something bad, and they don't want to hear it. They don't want to take accountability for it, and now they're upset, and they feel like you're doing exactly too much for the situation.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
even though they were wrong.
Yes, I hear that all the time. I added a synonym called "you're doing the most."
I saw that.
You're doing the most. So yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, follow him for more fun there. Follow me. It's all scrolling, so just take a look at it. I'm not going to read it. I'm not going to read it to you. You guys can read it. We are also brought to you by betonline.ag. Some interesting stuff happening over there. The Darren Williams, Frank Gore boxing match. What is up with celebrities boxing each other nowadays? I guess boxing is desperate. The fight odds, Darren Williams is actually favored to win this fight. He's minus 250 on a money line. Frank Gore's plus 200.
Is that a basketball player versus a football player?
Yeah.
Darren Williams played basketball, right?
Yep. He was point guard. It's a point guard versus a running back. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Apparently he's got apparently that equates to about a 71% odd of winning.
I don't know, because Frank Gore is like 50,000 years old, and he was still running for 1,000 yards. So, I mean, the man has some longevity, and I don't know. I don't know if you can outlast him, but it should be pretty good, though. I don't know what this is about boxers, like celebrity and boxers now. I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, have you seen Frank Gore? Like I think his head is made out of granite.
Yeah.
Like it's just like one big square block on some shoulders. Like he looks like somebody started a concrete bust and they gave up halfway through. That's what it looks like. It's good luck boxing that, I guess. That I don't want to box. I have no interest in boxing that. So Darren Williams, have at it. NBA players and football players should not be engaging in the sport of boxing, even though I think basketball players are the greatest athletes in the world because the size they are and the way in which they move. But when it equates to the sport of boxing, I just don't see it.
No, boxing's a different animal. It is. It takes so much conditioning and stuff to be able to box, to move around, to have the stamina and things like that. I know because before we moved here to Albany, I used to take a boxing class with my wife. And by the way, my wife has hands, so don't try her.
Yeah, don't try her. She's she tagged you a few times, right?
Yeah, like we would go in there and box, and I'd look at them like, these combos, you're really good at them.
She's quick,
and she just look at me and start laughing. I'm like, yeah, I don't want no part of that.
No, definitely not. So, but you know where you can bet on that stuff?
Bet online, baby.
Yeah. Well, your wife is not on Bet Online yet. Her odds aren't there.
Not yet. Not yet.
But Vegas is. I think she's fighting at Caesars next month. So be on the lookout for that. But anyway, so you can head to the new updated desktop or mobile website to sign up today. Receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code BELIEVE50. That's BLEAV. The number 50 to receive your bonus. So they have basketball, football, baseball. Well, they had baseball postseason. NHL is getting cranked up. Obviously, the boxing odds there. There's some good props on the NBA, like Steph Curry. He has one with MVP odds. That's a future. That's NBA championship futures as well. Warriors and Jazz are the favorites right now at plus 1,200 and plus 1,400 respectively. There's some odds on how many 50-point games that Steph Curry's going to have and stuff like that you can get. So, yeah, like I said, just use that promo code and you can jump right in and start betting some stuff. So that's going to be fun. And I think it's the Jake Paul, the Tyson Fury or Tommy Fury. Is it Tyson Fury's brother? I don't know these names. I really don't. Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury. Good Lord, man. It's getting this boxing thing's just ridiculous. It's getting a little ridiculous, but it's going to be Showtime pay-per-view. I'm not buying it. I'll just watch the highlights. That's on December 18th in Tampa. So if you're in Tampa on December 18th and you're bored, go on. Do what you do. So yeah, Israel. Last week, Georgia, Missouri, no Connor Basilick, but Missouri was able to have a little success on the ground. The final score obviously was 43-6, so it got out of hand pretty quick. But Missouri was able to have a little bit of success running the ball. To me, I just equate it to just one of those games where the defense just wasn't. They just weren't fully locked in. It was a noon kick. They weren't tackling overly well. Just, nothing that I'm overly worried about, like all of a sudden teams are going to be able to start running on us. I don't think that's going to be the case. I just think it was one of those games where, like, Missouri's the second to worst team in the division, probably the conference as well. And we just one of those games.
I think with no Connor Basilick, I think the Dogs, they thought that it would be simply a massacre, and it wasn't. I think both backup quarterbacks from Missouri did a really good job in that game of one controlling the ground game. I think they were able to keep the ball away from us for a little while there. I think it's the freshman is the one that started it all for sophomore, something like that. But he did a really good. He runs the ball hard. I think he's going to be really good for Missouri moving forward. But I think the game plan was good that Missouri had. It was run the ball, throw it just to keep Georgia honest and keep the ball away from them as much as possible. Unfortunately, our defense did step up and make some really big stops. But, I mean, it's hard to get mad at a defense that only gave up 6 points. It's hard to get mad at a defense that, gave up maybe 250, total yards or anything like that. But at the same time, in order to be elite, you would hope that, you don't look past anybody. And I think Kirby Smart said it, and I think a lot of the players said it too. They kind of look past Missouri. But I don't think that they will ever do that again. But like you said, there was nothing really glaring. For me, watching the game was just a bunch of missed tackles. That was it. We just couldn't get them on the ground. We kind of arm tackle people, which is one thing we haven't done all year. Yeah,
it was just kind of sloppy. Penalties as well. I think were a big part of it. And this is one of those games where you were hoping to put them away early rest a few guys for this game, but it took a little bit more than that. Ultimately, we were able to rest a few guys, but just it took a minute. But I'm glad to see Jermaine Burton got involved. I'm glad to see he's back. Glad to see obviously Lad McConkey and Brock Bowers doing their thing. The running game was on point again. Just offensively, we were chewing up yards. I really liked the game plan offensively. I thought we had a good mix of vertical shots, explosive runs, and had over 500 yards of total offense. Something stupid like that, and had a blocked punt in there, so special teams got involved. So I thought the game plan was good all around. I if we've tackled better, and maybe there was a couple drives that we probably should have finished off with touchdowns. But I'm really kind of nitpicking here. So I'm just you just try to poke holes in a 43-6 win.
The all-around game was very good. I give it an A- simply because in my, like you said, penalties and missed tackles, it's all well and good against Missouri, but against a really good team, especially this weekend, that'll get you beat if you don't tackle well or you give them, another chance when you should put them away. But, we heard I said it on Twitter, somebody had a button, hit the button prematurely. And he was telling the receiver to get off the ball.
I think the receiver heard the message and hopefully subsequently got on or off the ball. So, it took him having to tell the whole stadium what he wanted. Which was new to me because I didn't know that the side judge had a microphone as well. Because it wasn't the referee. It was the side judge. The white hat was in the middle of the field. Yeah,
so the sideline referee has a microphone as well, and we heard it in the whole stadium, which was awesome, though. You and I both know the things that we say, in the headsets and things like that. So
if they mic'd me up, they couldn't mic me up because it would just be one long bleep. But if they ever mic'd me up, that would be interesting.
If they mic me up, I'd be meeting with Georgia standards people real soon.
GHS,
but hey, it's a part of the game, and we love it. The internet loved it as well, and it just shows you little things. And I know you and as well as I preach to our kids about little things. So he wanted the little things. It should have been a touchdown, or if anything, it would have been fourth down, and they could have gone for it. But now you back them up 5 yards, which makes the head coach think about it. So, it's little things like that will get you beat. But, it just shows the passion. It just shows you what Kirby's doing. Coach Smart is doing a great job of making sure that those guys know the standard of Georgia football.
Yeah,
little things like that is demoralizing to him. To us, it's like, it's 5 yards. But to him, that's demoralizing. To those players, it's demoralizing. So I think that's the standard, that he's putting into his football team, and I love it.
Yeah, and he said, own the standard. He keeps saying that. Own the standard, own the standard, own the standard. They don't play to the opponent. They play to a standard. That's the goal. And that's what I love. And we're adopting that here at Hillwood. And we're writing what a lot of it's already in place, but we're just putting it on paper. And we're giving it, we're calling it the standard, and we want our kids to really own it. And I think it's good. I think it's a good thing for them to have something that they can refer to and say, hey, are we owning this? Are we living this? Are we going to hold each other accountable? And I'm hoping that takes shape. And I think it will. We'll lose a few, but we'll gain a few as well. So it is what it is. But another quote from, if you watch Kirby Smart All Access or, those type things, there was another one he said where he was talking about elite people don't get bored.
Yes.
I love that quote. I love that quote because they're always trying to perfect their craft. They're always on to something. So that's outstanding.
Yes, if you want to be elite, you're never satisfied. I'm actually right now revamping my offenses right now. I'm never one to think that I know everything. I watch Todd Monken every week. I watch Lane Kiffin every week. I watch Josh Heupel every week. I'm watching guys that are very offensive minded guys that try to pick up little things, as I'm watching. So I'll never be, too above the game to even watch somebody else. So I want to be elite, and you're not going to be elite if you're complacent.
Yeah, you got to figure out what your identity is. You got to figure out what connects with the kids as well, and you got to strive to find that. And I'd do the same stuff. But before we move on to our preview, Israel, and speaking of watching other offenses, I also sometimes try to peek in on what Jeff Brom's doing up there at Purdue, because and Wake Forest are two of my favorite non-SEC offenses to watch. Holy cow! There was a play I shared it on Twitter. There was a play in the Purdue game. They're the spoiler makers. They had it was a jet reverse flea flicker screen.
Mm-hmm.
You follow me?
Mm-hmm.
So jet sweep. So all the linemen are going to the left. Reverse, but all the linemen keep going to the left because they're pulling.
Mm-hmm.
Flea flicker, flick it back to the quarterback, and then throw it out there to the jet sweep guy for a screen. So he's standing behind 5 blockers. Well, everybody's taking the cheese on the reverse.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like 5 blockers for 2. There's like 5 offensive linemen for 2 DBs out there.
You know what that play reminded me of? You ever watched Little Giants?
Yep.
The annexation of Puerto Rico?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Except there was a fumblerooski on that one.
Yeah. Well, what if you found out that they actually called it the annexation of Puerto Rico?
I had a play. I have a trick play that is called the annexation of Puerto Rico. I haven't used it yet, but
so I won't ask you what it is. I'll ask you off the air. But
I'll tell you exactly when I run it.
Oh my God, this is awesome. So what stood out to me in that Purdue game is just how explosive they are, and how creative they are. Wake Forest as well. Obviously, fourth quarter was not their friend, but I thought they played really well. That was a fun game to watch and peek in on, was the UNC Wake Forest game. Obviously, UNC winning in towards the end there. Sam Hartman just fell apart essentially in the fourth quarter. But other than that, played brilliantly. Ty Chandler, glad he's at UNC and not at Tennessee. He went off, rushed for like 4 touchdowns and over 200 yards. That was exciting to watch. But this is finally the North Carolina team that we were all hoping for and expecting.
Yeah, and right now they're not the North Carolina that we saw last week. But it just goes to show that Pittsburgh is really good this year.
Mm-hmm.
They're a really good football team.
No doubt. And then Alabama, I'm trying to figure out how that happened. Now I understand
they are one timeout away from losing.
Yes, they are. That was
literally one timeout away from losing that ball game.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It was baffling. I'm not really sure. But
they still went over 300. What they have, like 400 something offensive yards or something like that at home against LSU. But I said it last week. LSU's defense is going to play. They're going to play ball.
That's their Super Bowl. I don't care how much they hate how much they've given up on him, all that good stuff. That's their Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And they played like it. You knew they were going to play hard for that game. It doesn't matter who's the coach. I could be the coach at LSU. They're going to play hard against Alabama, and that's just the way it is.
Auburn's going to be Alabama in the Iron Bowl. I'm calling it right now. Just from watching them in the last couple of games, and just watching what LSU was able to do to them after what Auburn did to LSU. Yeah, I like Auburn in the Iron Bowl. I'm gonna hold that one in my pocket, but I like them just from watching. You know how you watch games that previews of what's going on and things like that. The fact that LSU held Alabama to 20 points, but they were beating them 14-0 going into halftime without them screwing up, and it being 14-14 at halftime, something like that.
Yeah.
It just goes to show that Alabama, your time's coming again. The clock's ticking.
Clock is ticking. Hopefully, yeah, I would love to get my shot at Alabama. Just get that monkey off our back and win the conference, beat Alabama, so that everybody can say you finally beat Alabama. I don't care how bad they are; they're Alabama. Only Bill O'Brien could get 400 yards of total offense and only score 20 points.
Yeah, it sounds about right. Sounds like my offense this year.
Yeah, it sounds worse than ours. We were pretty bad. So Dan Mullen, Florida. Woo, brutal. Now South Carolina, talent-wise, is the second worst team in the conference. They have nobody.
They're going to be real good real soon then, because they are playing hard.
They play hard. They play physical. Their defense gets flat after it. I love their defensive line. They get after it. And that play with Josh Vann, did you watch the video that South Carolina sent out where all the things he could do in the end zone? That was freaking hilarious. But out goes Todd Grantham. Out goes John Hevesy. In steps in Christian Robinson.
I know. I'm excited for my boy Christian, man. That's a big deal. To be, I think I'm 33 now, so that makes him 32, 31. Power 5 school, Florida. You're getting the chance to, put a game plan together. Call the defense yourself. Going into the bowl game as well.
This is your audition.
That's a huge deal. That is a very huge deal, and I'm excited for him. We have a lot of guys. And I tweeted this out the other day. You did as well. Guys who graduated from Georgia, especially football players who are now coaching. You got the Edwards brothers, Christian, myself, Justin Scott Wesley, Jay Rome, Tavares King as well.
I didn't realize he was a coach. Where's he coaching?
Mark Dees. He's somewhere up north. I'm not exactly sure what school. Dawson, what's his first person? Josh Dawson is coaching now. So there are so many of us, that are in the coaching profession now. And it's huge to have somebody at that level right now that's doing such great things and having the opportunity to actually go and show what he's learned and everything like that. So congratulations, Christian, on that.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Representing all of us really, really well. I'm not sure where I count in this count, but like I said, I wasn't a player, but I was still in the program. So I guess I'm like half credit, maybe. I don't know.
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh, but this also, I want to say this as well. It was Martin Rick Appreciation Day as well.
Yes, that was awesome.
It goes to show you, and you were there. You worked there with Coach Rick, and it just goes to show you the values and things that he instilled in all of us who did become coaches, because we all hold the same values that he instilled in us. Becoming a great human being first.
Yes.
Becoming a student of the game, and then football take care of itself. Being a great father, being a great man, things like that. So all the things that we instill in our players right now that has helped us get as far as we've all come. Right now. So Coach Rick, congratulations. And I enjoyed seeing that on Saturday.
That was there were some onions in the room for sure.
Yeah. My eyes started sweating just a little bit.
Yep. Mine too. Like I said, those onions, man, they're crazy. I was very appreciative of what he did for the program. Obviously the work environment around the office was awesome. One of my favorites was Coach Fab. Loved him. Coach Garner, who's at Tennessee now, but love Coach G, love Coach Fab. Coach Fab was really one of the few that legitimately asked for my opinion on some kids that had sent film in, and what did I think, and he sought me out for that. And that was, I was a 21-year-old kid that really, I knew stuff obviously because my dad was a coach, and I knew it a little bit deeper than most, but still, like, I didn't know things to that level, and I didn't know exactly what they were looking for exactly, and I kind of gave my opinion, and we ended up signing. We ended up signing the kid. His name was Washawn Ely. So, I don't know if I was the tiebreaker or anything. He was pretty talented, so I don't think he needed my help to get in. But that was that was one of those things where there was a couple of ECI. There was I think a trio of ECI guys that we were signing that particular class. So that was interesting. And then just the whole recruiting experience, that was a neat side of it. And not actually playing college football, that was probably the next best thing that I could have done. So, and thanks to Coach Richt, for making that happen. So, wouldn't be here.
Nope.
Wouldn't be here today.
We'd be doing something different, but we love what we do.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I might still be coaching, but I don't know that I'm here talking about it right now. I don't know that I'm talking about it to the level of that. I don't know that I would have fully appreciated Coach Richt like I do. Just knowing the inner parts of it. I may have fallen into a similar trap to some of our fans that don't really know what's going on. Where it's Coach Richt is taking y'all to the Ramsey Center and going off the high dive instead of practicing, and I've never understood that. Where
I have to tweet about you.
Yeah, you would be tweeting about me, right? You and I would probably be getting in Twitter wars. Might be fun. I might get into a Twitter war with you anyway, but just to liven things up. No, I'm just kidding. But Tennessee week, man. I been to Knoxville a few times. My last visit to Knoxville was not necessarily a pleasant one. That was the Lane Kiffin bootleg game. I think you had a front row seat to that one, right?
What year was that? It
was 2009.
Yes.
That one that was so brutal. That was a brutal one. If I'm being honest, that was man, I walked away from that one just I'm like, all right, I'm just going to go enjoy the strip. I don't care. And whatever. But that was terrible. But that was my last time in Knoxville. I'm not going to Knoxville, but this is it's actually a 3:30 Eastern kick on CBS, Georgia, Tennessee. Going to be a fun one. Tennessee, at the beginning of the season, we circled this game as, okay, this is going to be our last kind of like tune-up before the SEC championship. Not knowing what Tennessee would become, knowing that they would have the potential to become this in a couple of years, but for not having any depth and a lot of injuries and playing a style that's not conducive to having good defense, they are doing a lot of good things. They found a great quarterback in Hendon Hooker. They have found a balanced attack in the run game with Jabari Small and Tyon Evans, who Tyon Evans is banged up. I don't know what his availability is going to be officially, but tune into the Believe in Tennessee podcast. You'll get all of that information. But, just at first glance with this Tennessee team, they're explosive, vertically downfield. They get the ball out quick. They do a lot of great things. They put a lot of pressure on the defense. It's going to – I might lose my dog card here, but I enjoy watching Tennessee play. Just with their style of play, it's fun.
I love watching them play. I love the tempo. I think Adari from SEC Network said they ran 42 plays or something like that last week and scored 45 points.
It was like 14 minutes of possession and scored 45 points. I'm like, good gosh.
And the first 14 points were, I think they only ran 5 plays altogether. They scored on the very first play against Kentucky. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, just the tempo in which they play offensively. Now, let's just talk about them offensively. Offensively, I think Hooker's done a great job for them. I think he was the answer that they needed. A physical kid that can throw the ball down the field. He's reading defenses very well, even though they're playing at a high tempo. He's doing a great job reading defenses, which is number one, and running a high tempo defense. That means he knows what to do. He knows where his guys should be at, and he's executing. Yeah. And right now, we haven't really played anybody that plays with tempo outside of Arkansas. So for us right now, can we get the calls in fast? Can we line up? Can we match up? And like me and you were talking about earlier, can we stop them in base defense?
Yes.
Obviously, we're going to be. I think we're going to play 3 down. Kind of a 3-4 kind of look. But can we beat them? And whatever our base defense is, which I know we're multiple, but just looking at what we got defensively, but can we stop them in our base defense? Whatever our base defense is, can we line up in every single play and stop them? And that's what's going to win the football game.
Yeah, I think so too. And what I really like about how we've prepared for them was spring, summer, and bye week, and maybe even throughout the course of the season, they have a period or two dedicated to tempo, because they're treating it like that Georgia Tech triple option. It's so far down the spectrum that you have to have specialty training on that to be able to do it, because your scout team has got to be able to communicate plays. It's almost like you're installing an offense to those scout teamers. And honestly, it's really not about stopping specific plays with specific looks. It's about understanding, being gap sound, and getting in your base defense and covering all the gaps quickly.
Exactly.
So essentially you could run your own stuff in practice, but just at a blazing pace, just to get those guys lined up, because that's about 3/4 of the battle. You get guys lined up, there's nothing complex with the tempo offense. It can't be.
No.
Because you're moving too fast. And
they're going to line up in doubles, or they're going to line up in the same formation they were already in. They might motion a little bit, but other than that, I mean, it's just the point of you being able to line up to and match their personnel of what they have on the field.
And occasionally they'll jet sweep and run some fancy perimeter screens out of that, but you got to be able to tackle in space. You got to be able to get lined up, and at some point you've got to be able to just get them behind the sticks. Penalties, when they do run the ball, shutting down their run game, whatever you got to do up front to make that happen, which to me, I would shift those ends into 4 eyes or even 3s and allow our linebackers to play C gap. I really like that kind of style of defense. That's kind of what, I think that works with our guys. We control the A and the B gaps with the down guys, and then the linebackers can go inside out and scrape to the C gap, get it all covered, and then on the perimeter let those guys do their thing.
Yeah. I've noticed one thing about our defense: if you run right at us, you have a little bit of success. Missouri kind of exposes just a little bit, but like I said, it was one of those games where we kind of looked past Missouri, but at the same time, I think they showed some things that can get us beat as well. If you run right at us, because Auburn did it, if you run right at us, like you
Florida
said,
did it a little bit too.
You put those guys in 4 eyes and kind of pinch everything, let our guys scrape over the top. Yeah. Well, if running inside is not going to work, when you do that against 900 pounds that's sitting there waiting on you.
Yeah, exactly.
And then with the linebacker depth and the speed that we have outside, that works out perfectly. But when you put them in 5s and you go 505, or you go anything else where those guys aren't pinching or anything, and you run right at us, you have success. So,
and also
running zone against that is easy money.
Yeah, that I hope they just run inside zone against that. But also, I think we leave ourselves, and this is part of teams using our aggressiveness against us. Like, one way to stop twists, one way to beat twists is to run right at it, because if we're moving laterally and you come straight ahead and hit us in the mouth, like,
you're gonna run right into it. Just
simple physics, like it's gonna, unless somebody has a bust, like if you pick it all up, man, you can create some nice running lanes in there with us twisting and stunning and whatever. We're probably going to have to not move as much. I do like the pre-snap shifts, and I do like shooting gaps, but these big elaborate twists, I just don't think, with the speed in which they get the ball out and some of the straight ahead running, I just don't think we're going to be able to do a lot of that this week. But who knows?
They're going to take that away. The one thing that you and I know as well, what makes the defense frustrated the most, when you just line up and play football. And that's what Tennessee's doing to a lot of teams. That's what they did to Kentucky. they lined up and made them play football. And then that resulted in 45 points. With
and Tennessee couldn't handle
plays.
it. I mean, it was chunk play after chunk play after chunk play. I mean, they were just eating it up, man. I think it was
the Alabama game. The Alabama game without a couple of turnovers that Tennessee made. I think they beat Alabama. Because what they do, they lined up and made Alabama play football. What do defense coordinators hate? When you line up and play football, when you run right at them, and they can't blitz and they can't disguise coverages and things like that. You just let them play football, and that's how Tennessee's playing right now, and I love it.
Yep, exactly. 11-on-11 Oklahoma drill, and there you go. And that's what I appreciate about Tennessee. Like there's no like finesse or fanciness to it. It's, I mean, obviously it's people will say, well, tempo, it's finesse, but no, you're just lining up fast, trying to get you out of position, and let's just freaking get downhill and hit you in the mouth. But offensively, to beat this Tennessee defense, I think, again, just got to take advantage of their lack of depth. I mean, I think when you have the running backs that we have, we can control the ball a little bit. When you have guys that can eat up yards in the passing game, like our tight ends and Ladd McConkey and Jermaine Burton, you get a few back-breaking runs and take a few shots over the top. Now Tennessee's getting a little bit desperate, and maybe you kind of dictate what they have to do. Because if Tennessee can dictate the pace of the game and the flow of the game and what plays are going to be called, I think you're going to get yourself in trouble. Kentucky allowed that to happen, and they ended up losing. If Georgia can kind of dictate what Tennessee has to do to stay in the game, I mean, Georgia's going to cover this 20-point spread pretty easily.
Yeah, you got to understand something, too. You're playing at Rocky Top, prime time. People have the faith in Rocky Top, and Tennessee is absolutely blooming right now. You know it better than I do. You're in Tennessee. Peyton Manning, who has not talked about Tennessee football in forever, is actually now talking about Tennessee football. So there's a lot of buzz. Yeah, there's a lot of buzz going on in Tennessee. So this is what you have to worry about. You have to worry about the 105,000 people who are going to be at this football game.
Yeah,
right. You have to worry about hearing Rocky Top forever when you get off the bus. Well, actually, when you load the plane, when you get off the plane, when you get off the bus, when you load the bus again, the police are going to be playing Rocky Top. Everybody's going to be playing Rocky Top. When you get to the stadium, get to the hotel. So all that factor. So now we got to block that out. And like Kirby said, you got to be elite. So what kind of team are you going to be on Saturday at 3:30?
You're either elite or you're not. And
you have to worry about the field. The field. Think about this. The field is always, excuse my language, shitty. When we play Tennessee, somebody's always getting hurt. Always. So you got to take that into account. You got to worry about golf balls, mustard bottles, all those things during this matchup with Tennessee. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. Tennessee is always a great game for us when we play them. So it's going to be a really good game.
Yeah, it is. And, Tennessee is just really kind of, they've advanced faster than I ever thought they were. Just given how many people they lost in the transfer portal and things like that. So this ought to be interesting.
They're playing hard. They're playing really hard. They're kind of like Sam Pittman. They just kind of needed some new blood at the time, and right now, Tennessee believes. I think Josh Heupel's got them moving. He's got them believing. They just needed somebody aggressive that wasn't scared to put the pedal on the floor.
Yeah. Jeremy Pruitt was a ground and pound. Let's play defense and let's win 17-3. Let's win 17-10 or 10-3 or whatever.
The old Nick Saban way of winning football games, which Nick Saban even got out of that.
Yeah, Butch Jones was just he was a cheese wiener. He was just a walking cliche. He's just a used car salesman. He was, Derek Dooley was in over his head. And Lane Kiffin was only there for a year, so we don't know what he would have done, what kind of impact he would have had. I think they finally got the guy that's right for that position. But it ought to be fun. They're 20-point favorites. You'll hear my final verdict here in this next segment. Israel, you know what time it is, man. Get them picks, man. Let's make those picks. So we're going to start out, actually, on my spreadsheet. I looked at it. I'm like, wait a minute. Pitt's not playing Tennessee.
They're playing right now.
They're playing right now, actually. How different would that game have been if Hendon Hooker was the starter?
Ooh, that'd been good.
That would have been really good. Hendon Hooker versus Kenny Pickett. Now that's a game right there, man. All right. New Mexico State comes into Tuscaloosa. This is not a joke. The spread is 51.5 in favor of
I'm not
Bama.
buying it.
Taking New Mexico State.
I'm taking New Mexico State to cover this.
Wait, hold on. I got to recap our week first of all. Israel, you were 3-7 last week.
Oh, I know. Sparty let me down a lot.
Sparty let you down.
Games.
West Virginia let you down. Florida let us all down. Bama let us all down. Arkansas let you down. Liberty let you down.
Oh.
And Georgia let us all down by not covering. So, yeah. They really
That's my first loss of the week. That's my first loss.
Yeah. And whoever Alex is on the spreadsheet, he had UJ by 100, so that didn't help either. But yeah, I just think that Alabama's just too vanilla right now to score 51 points by themselves. So I'm taking Mexico State as well. The next one is really, really interesting. You've already bought some stock. Auburn on the Plains hosting Mississippi State, 5.5-point favorites there. Mississippi State digging through the student body to find them a kicker. I don't know how that tryout went. They had about 40 people that they were picking from. I don't know how that shook out, but how do you see this one, man? This was an interesting one for me.
Bo Nix. Bo Nix is going to determine if Auburn. I'm going to take Auburn simply because I like Auburn's defense, but
home
Bo Nix has got to play better.
You got home Bo, so it's a little bit better. Yeah.
He was doing so well. I told you he was going to fold. He was doing so well for those couple 3 games.
You were right.
Last week, he went back to old Bo.
He went back to road Bo. Road Bo is not good Bo. I was the only one that got burned on that one last week. Should have known. Had too much faith in that defense. They almost came through for me. But I am picking Auburn too. And I think the home crowd, home Bo, and that running game and that defense, I think is going to carry them. Georgia -20 on the road at Rocky Top. That's a very, very big spread. It's a scary spread. But to me, I mean, yeah, I know Georgia didn't cover last week, but they've covered most of the spreads. So until they start consistently not covering spreads, yeah, I'm just going to take the dogs.
What was the cover last week?
It was I think it ended up being a 40-point spread.
Damn. And this was a 20-point spread?
Yep.
I'm taking the dogs in this one. I think we can beat them by 20. It might be 50-30, but I think we can cover this one.
Yeah, I do too. This one's an even line. Pick'em, South Carolina at Missouri.
I'm taking South Carolina.
Yeah, I am too. I'm buying, especially in this game, not necessarily in other games, but I'm buying stock into South Carolina here. They're playing their what's off. They're playing their asses off. Sorry, Courtney. Kentucky at Vanderbilt. Kentucky -21 on the road here in Nashville. It's a get well game for Kentucky. Vanderbilt is let's just be honest about it. They're pitiful.
They
are buying the spread?
I can't do it. I think Kentucky's going to turn the ball over. But I'm going to take Kentucky there.
Yeah,
I'm going to take Kentucky in this one there.
They have been known to do that, but I just don't think Vanderbilt can take advantage of it.
Yeah, I think Kentucky has a little bit after what they showed last week. I think Kentucky has a little bit more firepower. I think they'll be able to overcome it. So I'm going to take Kentucky in this one.
Yeah, I am too. All right, A&M at Ole Miss. This one's a really hard one too. A&M is 2.5-point favorites. Ooh. It may not be difficult for you, but Matt Corral is a little bit more healthy. I said it last night, and I said it on Illegal Motion as well. If they can figure out a way to keep Matt Corral from having to run the ball, if they can function without him having to run the ball, they're going to be in really, really good shape. If he has to run the ball, he's going to get beat up, and A&M's going to win this game. But they have to do things that's going to keep A&M's defensive line on the move and off balance. If they can do that, they're going to neutralize them. And again, the strategy against a good, fast, moving defensive line. And when I say fast and moving, those are two separate adjectives. They're fast and they move around a lot. You run right at them. Mm-hmm. And I think Ole Miss is going to be able to do that a little bit. So I'm taking Ole Miss in this one. Mostly it's just the home team bump. I think the home atmosphere, first true road test for Zach Calzada.
I'm going to go with Ole Miss as well. I think they have a few more weapons than Texas A&M. I think they're going to come up with a key stop at some point. I think he's going to make a mistake on the road. Lane Kiffin's got something up his sleeve. No matter how bad Ole Miss's defense is, they do tend to make key stops, at some point in the game, which turns the momentum over into the Ole Miss favor. So I'm going to take Ole Miss in this one, even though I'm kind of skeptical in doing it simply because Texas A&M is playing some really good football right now. But I think somebody's going to mess up on Saturday. And I think it's going to be Texas A&M.
I think A&M took advantage of what Bo Nix has to offer on the road, and that's bad Bo. Ole Miss is actually good at getting after the quarterback. Their best stat defensively is sacks. Mm-hmm. So they give up a lot of yards. They're bend not break, but they do have some crucial sacks. Arkansas at LSU. Arkansas is 2.5-point road favorites at LSU. LSU's coming off their Super Bowl. They're banged up. I mean, they can barely practice. But of course, interim Ed is the best Ed. But I like Arkansas ultimately,
which is still I don't understand that whole move, knowing that he's not coming back. And you still allow him to coach. But hey, that's neither here nor there. But I'm taking Arkansas. Are they playing this in Dallas?
They are not. They're playing it at LSU.
At LSU? Okay.
Yeah.
So definitely taking Arkansas in this one.
Yeah. TCU did it right with their coach. Like, they moved on from Gary Patterson. Gary Patterson was had the clamps down on the offense just because he was scared that – I don't know. He was just scared of having explosive offense because he felt like his defense would get tired. And what does Jerry Kill do? He goes, "Yeah, we're going to put the pedal. We're going to, we're just going to go. We're going to go. I don't care." He honestly didn't care if they won or lost. He was going to go a mile a minute on offense, and they put up almost 600 yards of total offense. Chandler Morris had a tremendous game there. So if you really want to know how to balance the two, watch TCU. They finally have an explosive offense. They're pretty dangerous. But we are not believing Big 12 football or believing Georgia Dogs. But we are going outside the conference here with these next picks. NC State at Wake Forest, ACC game of the week. Pretty much a pick 'em, but Wake is favored at home at 1.5. This Wake team is exciting.
Yes, I'm taking Wake all day. I actually like Wake by more than, 2 points you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like them by more than 2 points, simply because I think they felt like they should, in my opinion, beat UNC last week. So I think they're going to take that game and get back to the Wake Forest. I think they look past UNC. Yeah. It wasn't a conference game, so I think they look past them, which still bothers me that they're ACC schools but not a conference game. I don't know. It was not works,
I don't know. That was weird.
Yeah, like it doesn't count, which is weird. But anyways, I think they're going to get back to the old Wake Forest, and I think they're going to put a whipping on NC State. Although NC State's playing good football, I think Wake Forest has a point to prove because they're still trying to get into the playoff and in the ACC championship game.
Yeah. Absolutely, and they very well could get in there. Another team that I wish they were doing a little bit better, but as an institution, maybe not. But Oklahoma comes in 5.5-point favorites at Baylor. Baylor's playing some really good football under Dave Aranda. They're explosive as well. Don't take that loss to TCU to mean that they're any worse off for wear. They were a bad call away in that game from winning it at TCU. They were just as explosive offensively as TCU was. Defensively, they made some key stops, just not enough in the fourth quarter. The best way to describe this Oklahoma team, Israel, and feel free to correct me if there's just something I'm not seeing, but they're soft.
Yeah, they're very opportunistic. They're a soft, opportunistic team.
They're soft.
Kansas should have beat them. Mm-hmm. If we're going to be real, Kansas should have beat them. Mm-hmm. But I think Baylor has a bad taste in the mouth, because if they beat Oklahoma, it is a pretty much smooth path to the Big 12 championship, which also means that they could possibly have a seat into the playoff. Possibly. I didn't say there was, but it's a possibility if they win.
It's going to be a little harder with 2 losses, but
you're a little bit closer to the table this time.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go with Baylor simply because I love Dave Aranda. I love what Baylor's doing right now, considering everything that's happened with them. I think he's come in and done a good job of keeping them together. But I also don't think Oklahoma's played the type of defense that they're going to see from Dave Aranda as well.
Yeah,
TCU took advantage of them simply because they were looking ahead to Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. I feel like, just from watching that game.
And TCU had a lot of pent up energy as far as offensive production goes. It just happened to be TCU's week, man. That's just simply put. TCU is as good as Baylor. They just haven't proven it up to this point under Gary Patterson. That's probably why Gary Patterson is no longer the head coach of the Horned Frogs. So, Bo Davis, Steve Sarkisian, and the Texas Longhorns, they host Kansas. They host those MFers. And Texas is 30.5-point favorites. Again, to me, I don't know. If I'm a Texas dude, I don't know.
I'm taking Kansas. I don't think they beat Kansas by 30.
I think this is a get-well game. I think there's going to be some guys in that locker room that are tired of this. This is time for Bijan Robinson to step up. This is time for the quarterback, Thompson, whatever his first name is. I think it's time for him to stand up.
I completely agree. But we all know about the third quarter, with like 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, something happens, and I don't know. We all heard the bus deal, which, by the way, if anybody's upset with what that coach said on the bus and you're not a true football fan and you've never played football, and you should probably sit down, because everything he said on that bus is absolutely true. You're laughing and giggling after a loss like you don't care. And the fact that the kid, whoever recorded it and put it out, I don't know, was it maliciously or was it to prove a point that, hey, these guys are trying to, help us, but how I looked at it was, I think Steve Sarkisian is doing a good job. That's how I took it. He's got coaches that give a crap about what their players are doing. Mm-hmm. And I think Texas is moving in the right direction. That's what it showed me.
My only gripe, Israel, is that it wasn't a player that stood up and did that.
Yes. We all, yes. As a coach, that's what I tell my kids all the time about Georgia right now and Alabama right now. Those teams are player led. So coaches, all they're doing is calling plays and actually coaching. They don't have to worry about anything else.
You think Kirby is yelling as much as he did previous years? Not a chance. Right?
Oh, he's yelling.
But not as much.
Not about little stuff.
Yeah, like to me, it just seems like he's. I don't know if relaxed is the right word, but he just seems like
he's coaching football now.
Yeah, because he's got Nakobe Dean and Nolan Smith and Zamir White and those guys, Jamari Sawyer, those guys really kind of laying down the law of all the other stuff. Whereas in years past, that might not be as true. He's a little bit less frantic and he's a little bit more focused because he can be.
Yeah.
But our last game, the Spoiler Makers travel to Columbus to take on the Buckeyes at the Shoe. Buckeyes, 20-point favorites.
I'm not buying that.
In the Shoe.
Nope.
Yeah,
Can't do it.
That's a great pick. I'm taking Purdue in this one too as well.
Purdue has been knocking down everybody. They have knocked down number 2 and number 3, and they are currently knocking on the door of number 4 now. So they're about to knock off everybody.
Please make this happen. This happened a few years ago. They beat the brakes off Ohio State. I think they might have a chance to do it again. I think they're going to sneak Rondale Moore into the game too, by the way, just so you know. That's our picks, man. That's going to do it for our picks. That's going to do it for our show. Our timer's gone off. So we hit the over again. We're like that. If you had props on our show, we'd be like that national anthem prop for the Super Bowl. Like always take the over.
It's going to go over.
Yeah.
Always take the over.
I'll always take the over. If you're timing our show, always take the over. So, yeah. I got some big news also to share before we get out of here. You're looking at the new host, number 2 of our new trio, because we're going to welcome Vinny Hardy in as well. It's going to be a trio on Beast of the East, right here on the Believe Podcast Network. And over on Willis Digital Media on the video side, it's going to be a live stream. So we're going to get to interact with people in a live chat. Israel, you got to behave now.
No, I can't do it.
Yeah, no, it's all fun, man. But Vinny Hardy's going to join us as well. So it's going to be a 3-headed monster. I'm going to
be the mean version of Paul Feinbaum. I'm going to say the things that he can't say.
You should. You should be his evil alter ego. There you go. That's a good persona. But it'll be cocktail driven as well. So typically SEC After Dark, we typically enjoy cocktails. So we're going to do much of the same on Beast of the East. So I think Vinny's going to be able to do it as well. So I think that's going to be exciting. We got some got some revamped stuff for y'all on that show. So that'll be a lot of fun as well. So that's a new addition on that side of it. So you'll get to catch Israel in more than one spot now. Israel's starting to he's starting to become a multimedia giant here. He's gonna before you know it, he's gonna be on 6 podcasts. He's gonna be everywhere.
I'm just a regular dude trying to make it in the world. Yep,
that's right. I'm just a minnow trying to get into the ocean here.
Hey, I just really follow your lead. You called me and I'm like, hell yeah, let's do it. So, I mean, it's really the man with the plan is actually Corey Burton. I'm just here. This show would be nothing without Corey Burton. I'm gonna be honest with Corey and Courtney and everybody behind the scenes. My face is just here. They're the computer whizzes. They put all this stuff together. I really just watch film and bring my analytics to it. So without those people behind the scenes and Corey, coming over to everything, this show would not be possible. So it's not me by any means. It's everybody else. So thank you to all you guys for all you guys do.
But Israel, you are part of the team. So it wouldn't work without you, wouldn't work without me, wouldn't work without Cordy and the guys, Nick and Josh over at Believe as well. Just everything that it took to put this thing together as a show. Otherwise, that'd just be a one-man band, and that would get boring. So if you really want to watch what it would look like as a one-man band, we do have an episode called One Man Band where it's just me talking. That's not good for anybody. So yeah, we gotta have your perspective. 2 coaches talking about Georgia football it's a way to go, man. But again, if you really want to deep dive our stuff is right down there below. So subscribe, comment, follow us on social media. Beast of the East, you're going to have to check that out now, because that's another place you can find us. We're going to be able to deep dive in within the conference as well, cover it more with more perspective, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But we've got to get out of here. We're going to see you next week. We hope our picks are great, but we hope you have a great rest of your Friday. We hope you have an even better weekend. And until next time, we'll actually see you on Monday as well. But we'll see you also next Thursday on the show here on the Believe in Georgia Dogs podcast, presented by betonline.ag. Go Dogs, and see you later.
Dogs.
This is Believe in Georgia Dogs podcast on the Believe Podcast Network.